Obviously, a win's a win, but I think it was quite unique. We found a way. I think that's the thing. Afterwards in the game, you're kind of dumbfounded. We found a way to win. And I think that's what you always try to look for. I mean, that's the name of the game. No matter what you got to do, you got to find a way to win the game. Whether it's ugly, whether it's dominating, all things you can go back and evaluate, but find a way to win the game, and we did. You don't go out on the road that often and not just lose a turnover battle, but lose it by 2, which is to me a significant ratio. When you lose a turnover battle by 2 and you find a way to win, so unique. Obviously, we're excited about it. Everybody will probably want to talk about, obviously, James Wiggins made an incredible play at the end of the game. To me, and I kind of visited with our guys on Sunday, that sealed the game, but that's not what won the game. It's not. I mean, there's probably 10, 12 plays, 6 or so in particular, that I would say won the game or gave us the opportunity to win the game. Ones people don't talk about. Kobe Bryant gets beat on a long fade ball, on a double move ball, finds a way to continue to fight and scratch and claw and get the guy out of bounds at the 5-yard line. 2 plays later, 3 plays later, Perry Young runs the guy on a jet sweep that they got an opportunity to either get in the end zone or get the first down, runs him out of bounds, 2 yards short, they kick a field goal. Because of that, they gave us an opportunity to stay in the ballgame. They scored a touchdown. I don't know if the ballgame, I don't know. I mean, we're going to have a tough time going all the way down the field. So gave us an opportunity to stay in the ballgame. And then, to me, as big a play as anything, no one probably talks about is the last offensive play in that 2-minute drive. Des throws the ball to Mike Warren. He catches it about 2 yards short of the first down with a guy right there on him. He turns around, makes a jump cut, finds a way to get 2, 3 more yards, stretches the ball out, which in turn gives us the first down, which stops the clock. If not, game's over. He gets tackled. That's short of the first down. The clock continues to run. I don't think there's any chance we get up there and are able to spike the football to give us a chance to kick field goal. So that has an opportunity. That helped us win the game. You could say won the game. And then obviously Cole to line up there, not kick it once, not twice, but 3 times through the uprights. That won the game for us. And then everybody talks about, obviously, James Wiggins. To me, what it did was seal the game. Gave ourselves a chance and put us in a position to win the football game. James makes an incredible play, takes it back the distance, and then seals the game for us. So a lot of things for us to learn from, not just as players, but as coaches as well. There are some situations that I reevaluated that I would probably handle a little bit differently. But all in all, it's another opportunity for us to get out of town, get back to town with a win, and a great feeling in our stomachs and the ability to get better.
Was one of those situations the 4th and 3, the first half, the thought process behind that? Or
which one?
The one where you went for it,
which one?
Down.
There's 3 of it.
Where you went, I think you were on the 12 or 15-yard line.
15-yard line.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And there's some things that kind of go as a 6th series of the game. First series we drive all the way down, score. Second series we turn the ball over on the first play. Third series we drive all the way back down, turn it over. 4th series we drive ourselves back down. 5th series we punt. 6th series. So in my mind, hey, we've moved this football. We've moved this football. We're an aggressive team. We're not going to settle for field goals. It has nothing to do with Cole Smith. So in that set, yes, as you look back at it, I said, I wish I would have kicked the field goal there. But also, there's a reason why we made the decision. We've been moving the football very well, and didn't know that the game was going to turn out the way it did. But there's some situations like that you kind of look back and say, okay, how would I do this differently?
Last year versus SMU in overtime, and then this year, did you think about that before overtime started?
No. I mean, actually, the only time I thought about it is when we made the sack and it became 2nd and 20 or 2nd and 22, and they get 18, 19 yards on the next play. That's when it reminded me of the 4th and 26 from the year before. But we kind of understand that there's no bearing. What happened last year has no bearing, on the game. You can use it as motivation, different things like that, especially with the new coaching thing. So even what you studied the game from last year, it didn't have a whole lot of bearing on it. But in the midst of those things, you don't have time to think about things like that. But I can't say it didn't come up after we got the sack to make it 2nd and 20. For goodness sakes, let's find a way to make sure we can finish this thing.
You guys have practiced 2-minute drills a lot, but obviously you've had a lot of success in games, whether at the end of halves or at the end of games. Are you surprised at how well a young team, young quarterback has done in that situation?
Yeah, I mean, you practice them, but you don't really practice it's tougher to do. This isn't the NFL where every game comes down to a 2-minute drill. And I as a defensive coordinator, every time we did 2 minutes, I want a situation. I want the guys to understand the situation. I want to know how many timeouts. And then it becomes a little bit more difficult to do those things every day, especially when you're not, you're doing them on Friday, you're doing it on Tuesday, where you're not on Sunday, where you're not, actually competing for the ball. So sometimes the situation can get lost when you work on them, as opposed to just the mechanics. So we work a lot on the mechanics of 2 minutes. The situation in general becomes something that you probably talk a lot more about, and that's why, as much as we were successful in giving ourselves the opportunity for Dez to run the ball a few times when he did, to make sure he knows where the first down marker is, to get down. You don't do those things in practice. You don't put your quarterback in a situation where he's going to get hit possibly. And so yes, I'm impressed with your ability to stay under, calm under pressure. I understand that when you got to be able to take off and run, where you need to get to, when you need to slide. We all have an opinion on do you slide in some of those late game situations. And then there's a lot of people that tell you don't check the ball down there with Mike Warren, because if he gets tackled short of the first down and not out of bounds with no timeouts, you don't have another play to run. So a lot of things that unfortunately probably you got to study and continue to learn from as we will continue to do the mechanics of 2 minutes. It's just tough during the season to put yourself in a lot of those specific situations.
What about with timeouts? Are you, like in that second half, are you thinking this is shaping up to be a close game, I better save these? Are you telling guys, hey, don't blow a timeout if we don't?
No, it's all, the second half, we're very diligent in what we're doing, especially with time management and then your ability to put yourself in a situation to save those as much as possible. You don't want to have to use them unless it's the right situation, but you also got to weigh some options there. And, I learned a lot from the Ohio game. Coach Solis did a great job. I don't know what I just go back and study every situation that he ever was. He ever going to call a timeout? Did they ever get a delay? But the ability to keep your 3 timeouts gave them a chance to win that football game. You go back, I think on our bye week, I remember a little bit of football that I watched, the Michigan State versus Penn State. Michigan State ends up winning the game. They punt the ball away. They got 4th and 5 on about their own 45, maybe 4th and 3 on their own 45, with 1:30 to go in the game. We got to go for it, right? It's not what he did. He punted the football, punted it down, called his 3 timeouts, got the ball back on the 40-yard line, and goes down and wins the game. I don't know how many people would do that in that situation, but the ability to have yourself, to have your timeouts, if you can manage and do it the right way, I think in those tight games, it's going to give you a lot of flexibility.
You guys excited to return home after 2 straight road games following the bye week?
Yeah, no, shoot, we're excited. Obviously not just to get another shot at Navy after how it went last year, but also to be back home. That's where we try to get this student section, the ruckus, back behind us and get the confines of Michigan Stadium. And I'm not going to say, but going on the road sometimes that wasn't the atmosphere that I know it's going to be like on Saturday. So we're excited to get back into a great atmosphere, and especially one that's supportive and behind us.
You talked about not focusing too much on what happened last year, with the SMU game. What about with Navy? Are you totally ignoring that tape from last year?
It's not the same. You got the same type of offense. You got the same coach. You got a lot of the same things. You got to study history in order to not repeat it. So, but that doesn't, because they did what they did last year, doesn't have a bearing on this year. Just like I think when you play Navy, their record has no bearing on the game. I don't even know what their record is, to be honest with you. Have never looked. Because I don't think it has a bearing on the game. It's such a unique, offense and what you're doing, and it's even unique then, for our offensive guys that are playing against their defense, because the 2 teams with the greatest time possession in the league. So it's a unique game. It's a unique week, and so I think there's some things you throw out, but there's not everything. There are going to be some similar things that we saw last year that we'll see again this year.
it might be a little nerve-wracking at times, but how good has it been for Dez to kind of have defenses adjust to what he's been doing well, taking away some things, and having him, have to make that next step?
That's a part of growing up. That's a part of, even as a staff, it's not just Dez. The ability for Dez to react, the ability for Dez to grow, the ability for Dez to be able to make some adjustments in a game have a lot to do with the whole entire staff being able to do. It's a group of guys that don't know each other as well. They've only, it's a year and a half now. We're a lot better than we were last year, whether it's offense or defense, that have the ability to make adjustments and then being able to communicate them. And I think that's where you're seeing, a lot of growth, whether that was Hayden in there or Dez, it's still going to be something where, whether you're a senior or a freshman, there's going to be adjustments that you have to make. The better you understand the game and the better understand the what's and the whys to what, we do offensively and defensively, the better relationship and communication you have with your coach, the better you make adjustments. And I think that's where, having that ability to do that has helped us.
How much practice throughout the year do you kind of game plan for to play Navy? It's a unique offense. It's 1 out of 12 games, but yet, 1 week before the game.
We do a lot. I mean, this past spring, obviously, you do some. We did some throughout the summer with the time that was available with the new rules. Fall camp, we did some. To be honest with you, on the bye week, we took a day and we did some as well. So all things that I can tell you that we did the year before too, and maybe it wasn't, didn't quite go as well as we had planned. It wasn't from a lack of preparation, but I think the ability to understand what happened last year, not just for us as coaches as well, but the players too, the recognition of the speed of the game and how fast things happen in this offense is so different. It's not like, well, you play against tempo offense. I know it has nothing to do with that. It has to do with how fast the dive hits, how fast the quarterback gets to the edge, how quick that crack block happens. So, the unique thing for us is to be able to go out here, especially on a Tuesday and Wednesday, and try to simulate as best we can the speed and the tempo that we're supposed to hit.
In the back of your defense, I think Perry's the only guy that was in the spot that he was in last year when you played them.
He was.
Was he not?
He was suspended for the first half.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So I hope he's not in the same spot the first half. He's in the locker room. But yeah, there's not a whole lot of carryover for some of those guys.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I mean, I guess it depends on what kind of person you are. I mean, to me, when negative things happen, it fuels me a lot more. I think it's a good thing that those guys at least had some opportunities to be out there, because they'll realize, how quickly things happen. And they'll see it on film after practice today, they'll see it on film after practice tomorrow, and they'll at least be able to say, now, guys, understand something. That happens a lot faster. I don't know if they knew that going into the game last year. I know us as coaches kept thinking this. It's going to happen faster, it's going to happen faster, it's going to happen faster, but what is faster to somebody is relative. And I think, so guys are obviously in some different positions that they're playing, but at least they've played in it, they've seen it, they understand. Hopefully they'll be able to make adjustments a lot quicker.
How do you guys plan to handle multiple quarterbacks that they could potentially throw at?
Just like we do every single week. It's awareness and making sure that you know who's in there. Our guys know who's in there. But there's some things you can't make you can't overdo. They're still going to run their offense. Does it slightly change based on who's the quarterback? Yeah, on where they're trying to get the ball to. But I think that's probably some of the mistakes maybe we made a little bit last year. Is too much emphasis on, okay, well, who's this guy? Where's this guy? This is what they do out of this. They can do anything, and you can give them a completely different look, and they can make tweaks and changes, during a series, not just in between series. So it's going to take a lot of discipline from a lot of guys, and a lot of guys are going to have to be able to adjust and whatever happens.
You mentioned time of possession and running ball. Did SMU do anything special to shut down, particularly Mike Warren?
No, I mean, I can't. The ability to put more guys in the box, but I think that a lot of people, are starting to play some more of the odd stuff, and I think gives you, just it's not as exact. When you're a gap control defense, sometimes when you're playing the 4 down, I mean, you got a lot better idea of where guys are. But I think they do a good job. They're an aggressive insert of their backers in a lot of things, so they take double teams off really, really fast. You know, and sometimes it hurts them, and you know, some of the play action stuff. But you know, I think they had a philosophy. I can give them credit. They had a philosophy. We're not going to let you run the football. We're going to challenge you and make you throw the ball. You know, in a lot of situations. And that's why, you know, we obviously threw the ball a bit more. Obviously, Khalil with 12 catches, and I think Des with his biggest day of obviously of a young career, his completions and amount of attempts. But a lot of times that's us maturing and understanding that there's some things that teams can dictate a little bit to you, and you got to have the ability to be balanced.
Does that help you in a way where other teams can now look and say that if they need to throw the ball 50 times they can, and maybe they can't load the
Well,
box?
we'll see. I mean, it still comes down to, you know, what do they believe is their strengths, and are they going to change to take away your strengths? I mean, I think at least it'll make people have to be aware, you know, and say, okay, hopefully, you know, we're not going to be a one-dimensional team.
I'm sorry. They obviously among the top rushing teams in the nation. What is it with their defense that you've seen? Like
They're a little different. I think last year they were a little bit older last year with their defense. Maybe a little bit more man coverage oriented sometimes. This year they're probably a little bit more. You see the youth maybe. They don't have as many of the returners, but they still give you fits because, like we said, the issues you have sometimes when you line up in four-man fronts, you got a good idea where people are gap-oriented, gap-controlled defenses. All of a sudden they start popping into those four techniques and four eyes and head-up noses. I think it especially can give you some anxiety. I think up front, where exactly are these guys and what are the combinations that we're doing. So we've seen a lot of it. We do it defensively, to give some looks to the offense as well. But I think that's, there's still going to be multiple in what they do. They're not just going to line up and try to go mono a mono. They do a good job of moving themselves around, playing some three-man, playing some four-man.
You said you can't look past, it's hard to look past Navy even with USF and UCF on the schedule. How important of a game is this in the stretch run through these final 4 games in November?
Especially being back at home. They're all important. Momentum is the key to football, especially college football. When you deal with 18 to 22-year-olds, I think there's probably a few teams in the country that maybe can override some of the momentum things, and I think Navy's one of them because of the type of kids that they have, the maturity they have, the military. Obviously, this is not probably maybe the first thing for them, with the military and the things that they're doing. So that's why I kind of look at them and say, I don't care if they won their last 4 games or lost their last 4 games. You're going to get their best effort. You're going to get them in everything that they do. And I don't think that you can even worry about the record of any sorts. Just it's the kind of kids they have and the kind of program they have.
We're good. Thank you.